Hello, I'm Anna Mackay and today we're looking at natural logarithms. A natural logarithm refers to the number e. I know it's also a letter. What is e, you might ask? E is a number. If you were to type it into your calculator, you'd have to write e to the power of something. So do anything to the power of 1 stays as itself. And that's the equivalent of the number 2.718. And it's an irrational number because the pattern is not recurring. There is no clear pattern, just like the number pi. In terms of logarithms, so far we've been used to seeing logs with a base 10 traditionally, or a number base. Well, log of base e, as we've just decided, e is the number 2.718, so e is a number. So it's still log to a particular base of x. However, because it's a number used very commonly in maths, it gets its own special terminology. We call it lnx. So the L comes from the word logarithms and N comes from the word natural. So whenever you see ln, you need to know that it refers to a log with base e. Some of the properties of logs: if you had a log of base a of a to the power of x, the answer to that is x. And so the same thing applies to a natural logarithm. If you have a log in base e and that base is the same as this base over here, then the answer is x as well. Writing that in ln terminology, instead of log of base e, which is what we had to the right hand side here, we know that log of base e can be written as ln. And so if you see ln e to the power of x, the answer is x. Another property of logs, 10 to the power of log a, and we know that logs are traditionally base 10 if you can't see a number. So that log is base 10 and here's the 10, and the answer for that is a. Equivalent in natural logs, that if you have e to the power of ln a, where ln is log in base e, the answer is that a there. There we go. Doing 3 examples. The first one, which rule does it match? Matches this first rule. We have log in base e of e to the power of 3, so the answer to that is 3. No other working out needed. Next, the next ln of the square root of e. We have to think about what power is that of e. It's e to the power of half, and therefore let's write ln of e, and the answer to that is a half. Just a side note here, you might notice the way I wrote ln. It's with a cursive L, and we tend to write it like that because if I was to write a straight L and then an N, sometimes that could be confused with a number 1. It's not one lot of n, it's one natural log. So get used to seeing and get in the habit of yourself of doing a cursive L. And the third one here would match the second rule, but it needs to be e to the power of ln on its own. So there's the 2 at the front there and then the 5. We've got to combine them somehow. And the powers of logs tell us that 2 can be 5 raised to that power of 2. And therefore our answer is just 5 to the power of 2, which we know is 25. When we're asked to use our calculator to write the following in the form of e to the power of k, so we have to find a number that would be e to the power of something would give you the answer of 50. I'll show you some calculator work in a minute. If your calculator looks approximately like what I've got here, where to find the e button, it's often you have to use the shift, and you'll see e is here. And what's that button that it's paired with? That's an ln button. So they often go hand in hand. And the rule that we're after tells us that if you want a number on its own, you would write e to the power of ln of that number. So we need to work out what is ln 50 to 4 decimal places. So as I said, e, you can check. E to the power of ln 50 will give you that 50, which is the question. And now we just need to work out what is ln 50, the natural log of 50. It's 3.912 would be our answer to 4 decimal places. And then the second one, we would write this as e to the power of ln of that number, 0.005. And now in your calculator, you need to work out what is that ln number. And we would get e is to the power of negative 5.2983 to 4 decimal places. There it is, confirming that on our calculators. Next examples. If we're asked to find x, if ln of x is equal to 2.17, a little flowchart I've talked about before with logs is that if you have your base number here, it flows on to the answer is the power, so it's e to the power of 2.17 is equal to x. So I like to write that out. E to the power of 2.17 is equal to x, and therefore you need your calculators, shift of e to the power of 2.17, and we traditionally go to 2 decimal places or 3 significant figures. So the 8 counts as the first significant figure, so it's 0.76. And the second one here, remember, if you're thinking flowcharts, it's e, which is the base, to the power of that is equal to x. I'll write that out. So e to the power of negative 0.384 is equal to x. And using your calculators for that, x is approximately 0.681, so 3 decimal places there, or 3 sig fig. That's the end of this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Joining me for laws of natural logarithms next. Thank you.